Education Minister Dan Tehan, thanks very much for your time. We've seen 2 schools closed in Melbourne as part of this most recent spike. Are you comfortable that schools are still safe to be open now?
Yeah, absolutely, Kieran. The medical expert advice clearly says that schools are safe to be open, obviously with the right protocols in place, and in particular making sure that we've got the right protocols in place for our teachers. It's very interesting when you look at the international experience. You take a country like Norway, where they closed their schools. They're now saying that their chief medical officer is now saying that the one thing she wished that hadn't happened as they dealt with the pandemic was to close their schools. So yes, right protocols in place. The medical experts still tell us that schools are safe to be open, and obviously that continuity of education for our children is absolutely vital, that we keep that going while we're dealing with the coronavirus.
So if there's a case like we've seen at Brunswick East Primary School in Moreland or Keilor Views Primary School in Brimbank, that the schools are shut down, a deep clean happens, the kids go home and then resume in a few weeks from now, that's basically the scenario wherever this happens around the nation.
That's right, and look, we're approaching school holidays in Victoria, but in some instances schools have been closed down, the tracing's been undertaken, the testing's been undertaken, and after the cleaning of the school it can reopen in 3 or 4 days. So it depends on the circumstances, but obviously in Victoria we're heading into school holidays, but they'll make sure that they do the appropriate testing and do that tracing. That's also important to make sure that they've got the virus under control and then reopen the school.
What do you say to those who remain sceptical about schools being open? You've heard it yourself, a lot of the criticism of it, that this will help foster an outbreak, a spike like we're seeing in Victoria.
Because the medical experts have been very clear on this, and it's a medical expert panel which is made up of the Federal Chief Medical Officer and all the State and Territory Chief Medical Officers, and they've made it clear that schools are safe to remain open as long as you get those protocols in place. And as a matter of fact, in terms of the spread of the virus, it's much more likely that it will be the adults in the school community, it will be teachers in the lunchroom that are more likely to spread the virus amongst themselves than the children in the schoolyards themselves. And they continue to monitor that, they continue to look at the data from overseas. But their guidance and advice to the Commonwealth and to states and territories is it's safe to be open.
Deputy Chief Health Officer, Deputy Chief in Victoria is in Victoria. Social interaction, these over the space is the federal government's message as well.
Absolutely. What we need is adults in particular being particularly careful, because we know that predominantly where spreads, it's a of adults, especially so we do need everyone to be following the advice of the Chief Medical Officers right across offices, states and territories, Commonwealth Chief Medical, because now we need to step up to, especially in Victoria, ensure that we get back on shore of the virus. Done an incredible job in flattening the curve, but we've got to make sure we continue listen about the